11 years ago to the day, I took off on a 2-month-long road trip, May 8th, 2015. And I went all on the west side of the United States, and I thought that this was going to be my thing. This is the defining moment of my life. I'm going to post this content. I'm going to change some lives. I'm going to be a motivational speaker, a life coach. The thing is, I was a 28-year-old idealist, and now 11 years later, I can look back in retrospect and know these things because there was so much that I had yet to encounter and yet to process at the time. The biggest thing was there was several heartbreaks that had to happen. There was a lot of emotional healing and some spiritual finding. See, at the time, I thought I had so much figured out. And the further I went along on that trip, the more I realized I'm out of my element here. The scenery was beautiful, and I realized how much I loved being out in nature, being out on the road. That, to me, just does it for me. And so, 11 years later, to the day, I'm heading out on a road trip again. You're watching me right now. I'm in the middle of nowhere, Mississippi. I've never been down these roads before in my life, and that brings me so much joy and so much contentment knowing that. And I was planning this trip for the last 6 weeks. I started planning this trip. And here's the difference between me now and me then. Me then was like, I'm just going to go out and see what happens. I'm going to go to the local watering hole and just whatever. And one of the biggest lessons I've learned in the difference between then and now is you have to, and this sounds counterintuitive, you have to plan to be spontaneous. So I planned the route. I planned a vague idea of the activities that I want to do. I packed a lot better now than I did back then. I've got a severely limited budget compared to how I had last time. I was financed by a rich relative or then relative, and now I'm just doing this all on my own. This car has 278,500 miles on it right now. 278,500. I've got a plug in one tire. I only have 3 hubcaps. But the whole point was that I'm not going to make any more excuses, man. I'm tired of putting life off. I did a lot of emotional and spiritual work in the last 11 years, more specifically the last 7 years. And I figured, man, it's time to show up for life. And this is 2026, let's be real. You hop on any one of those apps and you scroll up and you're going to find destitution and despondency. You're going to find all the disses, and for good reason. I mean, there's plenty of abhorrent behavior and stuff going on, and it's just I'm afraid I'm putting off so much life and connection with people that make everything great, that make all of this great. And that's what I've missed. See, where I live now, I live kind of in the middle of nowhere. I live 20 minutes from anything. And I just don't have the opportunity to see very many people. And that's so antithetical to my life mission, which is to connect, which is to show warmth and inviting and love to as many parts of nature and as many people as possible. And that's why we're out here. I got tired of the bullshit. I'm not gonna stand back and live out of fear and anguish and tension. It's so easy to get caught in that, and I find myself doing that. And so here I am in the freaking rolling hills of wooded Mississippi, on my way to Jackson, Mississippi, then Chattanooga, Tennessee after that, then Asheville, North Carolina after that, Charleston, South Carolina, Savannah, Georgia, Pensacola, Florida, and then ending in New Orleans, Louisiana on Memorial Day weekend, which I'm so freaking stoked about. And see, coming out here, I had no idea what am I going to do for content. But I told myself that the point of being out here is to live. We're going to live. We're going to feel. We're going to connect. We're going to sing. We're going to dance. We're going to be fucking human. I felt like I haven't been human for a couple of years, at least. Now, mind you, I've spent the better part of 7 years on my healing journey. I feel so at peace and so contented, so at one with myself. And I got to thinking of how much how much life I've missed because I was so consumed with my shame and with my anguish or with my anger at someone else that I'm missing some freaking mansions out in the verdant Mississippi hills. And I'm kind of done with it. And I want to be out. I want to live. I don't know what's going to happen on this trip. Like I said, I have a vague itinerary. But this is an old car. Who knows what's going to happen there? I've got my bicycle in the back here that I just bought the other day. $700, dude. That's for me. My budget was $200. And I was like, okay, well, the guy at the bike shop said, no, dude, don't be a cheap ass. If you're going to put some miles on it, get a good one. So I got a Fuji, and I'm a tall boy. I'm 6'5", so that bike, like, it was hard to find a bike in my parameters. So I'm going to be riding that. That's going to be a major aspect of the trip, is riding the bicycle, which I have never owned a good bicycle. I've never biked anywhere. I've always lived, close to cities and such, and we always had cars, and so, I live in Texas, so you use cars. And so, with a vague idea of what I'm doing, a vague idea of what I'm producing as far as content goes, the whole point is to go out and experience and document as best I can, living first and document second. But this is a good chance to really write a lot and journal a lot, to bring you along with me. Jam some tunes, ride these roads that I've never seen, look at houses I've never seen, and that's the freaking dream for me. And it's just me, solo, in the car. I'm telling you, dude, that's the dream. And I'm so excited to meet anyone and everyone. I even posted on my other socials. I posted my schedule, the cities and the dates I'm going to be at. I was like, come hang. Let's do this. Let's grab a drink. Let's go dancing. Let's do some karaoke. Yeah. So that's the plan. And I intend to post on here as much as possible. I've fallen back a little bit on the long form content, but that's another reason why I wanted to come out here, to have a change of scenery. Sometimes, a change of scenery just opens the floodgates of creativity and experience and warmth and connection with oneself. And that's exactly what I'm expecting out of this. I'm not expecting, I take that back. I'm not expecting. I'm looking forward to what aspects of those parameters I just mentioned come to me naturally. And that's one of the things I've learned in my healing journey, is the whole downsides of expectations. Because boy, I've always had expectations. And I think that was another big issue of my previous road trip 11 years ago, when I was freshly shaven. I was expecting success in the self-help world. Like I said, I was an idealist, and I was so naive. So much to live and learn. But I did. Now we're here now. And I'm a mere hour or so out of Jackson, Mississippi. I booked my stay for 2 nights at LaFleur's Bluff State Park. After everything that's been going on, man, especially in the political sphere and what they're doing to the public lands and the National Park Service and the State Park Service, it's absolutely abysmal. So I'm going to do my best to, along this trip, see, my plan was initially to stay for free as much as possible, which I am, but I want to support state and national parks as much as possible as well. So the very first stop today, Jackson, Mississippi, LaFleur's Bluff State Park. Throwing my tent up, get the bike all ready, and head into town. What I loved about LaFleur's Bluff is it's pretty close to Jackson. So hop on the bike, get into town, and see what we can find, man. I've never been to Jackson. I've never been to most of these cities I'm going. And like I said, we're going to live. We're going to live. Hell yeah, dude. I'm getting choked up just thinking about it. I'm so freaking pumped. So pumped. And I'll document as best I can, I promise.